Hey, Bob, tell me about the first time you received this. I heard this little story about it.
The Phil Jones bass amp?
When
Well,
it showed up.
the first time I received it, it actually came to the a Funk Brother rehearsal the day before I got to the rehearsal. And that night I got a call from the road manager, and the setup guy was actually on the extension phone, so it was like a three-way call. And road manager said to me, he said, "Bob, what is this amplifier you got here? There's no way it can be a bass amp." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" "Yes, it's the Phil Jones amp, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that's it." He said, "Nah." And the setup guy says, "No way, man, no bass amp. It can't be." So I said, "Well, just wait till I get there tomorrow, and you'll see. We'll check it out." So the next day I came in, and they had it all set up on the stage, ready to go. But they were saying, every time I saw them that morning, the early when I came in, they would say, nah, it's not going to work. I said, like, even to the, well, I don't want to say that what they really called it, but they said like it's a piece of crap, you know. I said, wait a minute, give it a chance. And when I wound this sucker up and threw it in the overdrive, turn it on, there was the biggest eyes and jaws dropping. They could not believe what was coming out of there. It was an incredible feeling for them and for me, really.
Beautiful.
But I know that they got blown away.
It's incredible punch on it, too.
Well, you know, that's the thing. Some of the guys in the band, because we have two drummers, the drummers made a comment to me about how they could hear every note clear as a bell, and it was tight and punchy, but yet still fat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then sometimes the horn players usually sit behind me to the right of me, and a lot of the rooms we play are not acoustically treated for sound. You know, we might play in a ballroom in a hotel or something, mm-hmm, for some kind of private function, or even some of the older theaters where they don't have like the modern day theaters. And a lot of times you get this boom or boom or something. Turn the bass down, blah, blah. And the horn players would say, "Well, I can't hear nothing you're playing." Blah, blah. Well, I'll tell you what. After a couple nights of playing this, I had just about the whole horn section approach me individually, or maybe a couple of them at a time, and they couldn't believe the sound of it. We had the first three concerts I played. We did a tour on the East Coast with the Funk Brothers. And the websites of the Stand in the Shadows of Motown website, mm-hmm, and then somehow bass players have access to the Dr. Lick's website too, right, which I probably guess you could just punch in Dr. Lick's and you're there. And Dr. Lick's told me that after about three concerts that the email was coming from bass players, about over 24 bass players who saw the show in the first 3 days, and they were saying, "What's that amp? What's that amp? What is that?" And then I guess the one thing that really got me was my daughter. Mm-hmm. She came to see one of those first shows, and she said to me, she called, after that I saw her after the show, she says, "You know what, Dad?" She says, "I've never heard your bass sound so good."
No, beautiful.
I said, "Wow," I said, and right away I'm thinking, well, it's the same bass player. And I'm thinking, well, the truth of the matter is, I'm playing through a new amp. She says, "Well, what is it?" And I told her, and I said, "You can actually." She was so impressed. She said, "Well, I want to talk to this guy. I want to talk to him, the Phil." So I guess she did. She emailed Phil, and she was, and that kind of hit me because sometimes your family is the most critical.
Right.
They have to say, "Well, hey, well, you didn't sound, we couldn't hear you," or something, But boy, she when she said that, I said, "Whoa," But naturally, the musicians too. But it's great to know that you're playing through a piece of equipment that you can have the confidence in, and it's sounding good. You set it up to make it sound good on the stage with you, and it carries out into the audience. That's a great feeling, because the worst thing I think a musician can encounter is a bad sounding rig or even whether it's in the studio or live, whatever. That's that affects your playing more than anything.
Well, it's been a joy listening to you play today.
Well, we had some fun, Al.
Oh, yeah, yeah. One of the hottest dancers in the city. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
right. I'm a dancer. I got sometimes music can be so involved. You need three legs to dance with. Well, for me, I was dancing on one leg, but I got two legs, but I was only dancing on one. If you can figure that out. But yeah, and it was a pleasure hearing. If you bass players out there are thinking about something that will really help your sound, you need to be thinking about Phil Jones bass amp. I'm telling you.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it just if you like the Funk Brothers music, if you have one of these Phil Jones amps, you'll get that feeling like you're on the stage with the Funk Brothers. But this thing here, there's no way you can go wrong, believe me. So, musicians look for years for sounds, and I think you're not going to have to look too much anymore, not since with this baby.